Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel. This story is titled Entitled Hotel Karens, and it can be found under the subreddit of r/entitledparents, narrated by yours truly, Bishop Phonix. This story was written by Devil's Priest. So I work the graveyard shift as a security guard for a small private company. And one of the places I've worked security for was at 2 hotels. One thing I do while I am at work is to be respectful and give someone the benefit of the doubt, especially when there is supposedly only one witness to something going on. I also try to be as respectful as I can be, even when the person or people I am dealing with are being uncooperative and belligerent. One of the things I do when I first get on shift is to talk to the front desk of the first hotel I would guard and see if they need anything before I begin my patrols for the night. And I always check in with the front desk as often as I could, so they knew I was there to help if needed. I would then walk over to the second hotel and do the same thing. Most of the time, they would ask me to go to a room and knock to let the guests know that they were being a little too loud and that there was a noise complaint, and the guest would usually apologize and then quiet down for the night. This night in question, I had to deal with 3 entitled parents. One thing about the hotel is that the lobby closes to the public at 9 p.m., so that means any large gatherings are prohibited from continuing at that time, and that is the time I would start work. I grabbed a radio so the hotels could contact me at any moment they needed security. I would walk from the first hotel after having let them know that I was on duty, and would make my way over to the second hotel and do the same thing. When I checked with the front desk of the second hotel, the clerk behind the desk asked me if I could talk to a group of adults who had been drinking and were getting very loud. I calmly and respectfully told them that they could continue their party in their rooms, but they had to vacate the lobby as it was officially closed for the night. The clerk at the front desk told me that she had tried to get them to quiet down and leave the lobby for the past 10 minutes, yet they complained that, as guests, they were entitled to stay in the lobby. They complained that the hotel had gotten security involved and complained on the way back to their rooms, but left the lobby. I began my patrols when I got a call less than 30 minutes later at the same hotel because someone had complained that children were running in the halls. The hotel was currently hosting a sports event, and many kids on the sports teams were there. The clerk behind the front desk had me meet her in the lobby, and we went to the room we believed the children were. When I saw the kids, they said that they had been outside until a moment ago, when they came back to the room, which I could verify as true. The kids then said that they had seen 2 kids that appeared to be twins running through the hallways. The clerk leaned back and gave an exhausted sigh and told me she had gotten all day about those 2 kids. She believed that the parents were in the group that had been kicked out of the lobby earlier. I walked around the hotel to see if I could find the room the kids were in, and was stopped by hotel maintenance and told that they had seen those kids running away from the floor I was on, and that the fire retardant cases were all open and one appeared to have been kicked in and was badly dented. I spotted the 2 kids in question, and they immediately went back to their room at a running pace when they spotted me. I found out what room they were in and reported everything to the clerk before going to the first and second floor to find out if any more damage had happened, and a guest told me they saw the 2 twins running around the second floor. And I found all the cases open except one that had been broken. It was missing a handle, and the glass was cracked. I went to the lobby and showed the pictures of everything damage done, and the clerk called the manager directly at 10 p.m. on a Saturday night. For those who don't know, most hotel management is never in on the weekends. The manager had said that these kids and their parents needed to leave immediately and charge the room for all damages done to the hotel. I waited until 10:30 p.m. to go to the room, hoping that the parents would be back in the room. I went up to the room and knocked on the door. One of the kids responded, and the encounter went as followed. "Hello, I am security for the hotel. Are your parents in the room?" "No." Can you tell me where your parents are?
In another room.
Can you tell me what room they are in? The entitled kid told me what room the parents are in, and I immediately told the children to contact their parents and have them meet me up at the room. As soon as the door closed, I stepped away from the door, but kept it in immediate view and contacted the front desk and asked the clerk to wait with me. Since we were dealing with minors, and for safety reasons for all parties involved, I didn't want to deal with
"He was harassing us for no reason and stalking us all night" crap.
The parents took 15 minutes to come to the room, as they expected me to leave the floor the children were on, and I was afraid they would run to another room and break more stuff on the way. The first thing that happened was the entitled father started yelling at me. "What are you doing creeping outside our children's room?" "Hello. I'm the security officer with the hotel. I was asked to speak with you as your children have been accused of breaking hotel property." "So you thought you were going to harass young boys? Do you get off on doing that or something?" "Sir, your children have been accused of breaking hotel property, and because of the risk of them supposedly doing it again, my job here is that I am assigned to protect this hotel from such things, and as such, your children are considered a threat to the safety of the hotel." "You have no right to be outside their room. You should have come and speak to us at our room, not be a creep and stand outside the room like a freaking pervert." "Sir, they are classified as a threat with the accusations of the destruction of private property. As it stands, the hotel managers have made it clear that you are no longer guests here and you must leave the property immediately."
"You have no proof that our children are behind this."
"They have been perfectly behaved, and they have been in their rooms all night." Unfortunately, as they kept trying to yell and talk over me, I was beginning to get irritated and was losing my polite attitude and started becoming that extreme butthole security guard with a cop attitude that no one wants to deal with. "That's nonsense. I have hotel staff that has seen them outside their room. I have guests in the hotel that have seen them outside their room. And I have personally seen that they have been outside their room."
"Everyone else is lying and personally targeting our children, including you. There are many children here that could have been the culprits behind these accusations, but you are choosing to blame everything on our children."
"I don't care if you believe me or not. You need to leave the property immediately." It is in this moment that the entitled father got directly in my face and said, "I don't have to do anything you say. We're not leaving. I work for the FBI." I looked at him and demanded he shows me his federal credentials, proving that he is part of the FBI. The state that I live and work in states that if you identify as a member of local or federal law enforcement, or as a federal employee, you have to show your credentials, even if you live in another state. The entitled father said he didn't have to, until I told him this exact same law. He then told me that he left them in the room and needed to go get them. When I was able to confirm that they didn't want to leave, I calmly walked back to the hotel lobby, but not before the entitled friend said, "Go ahead and leave, you pervert. You know you're wrong and that you have nothing to prove." As soon as I was in the elevator, I got on the radio with another clerk at the front desk and told them to call the local sheriff's department, and told her the entire encounter and explained that they were now trespassing on hotel property. While the clerk was on the phone, the night auditor came in and I briefed him on what was going on. The entitled father came down and began demanding the hotel give the family a full refund, or they were not leaving, and that they couldn't do anything as he was FBI. He unfortunately severely scared the two clerks that were still on shift and made the night auditor nervous with this. I told them to let law enforcement know that the man was claiming this, and that I now feared he had a weapon on the property. Thankfully, they went back to their rooms after realizing the hotel would not budge, and they stayed in their rooms for the rest of the night. I checked all the hallways just in case, but thankfully they remained clear for the rest of my shift. Law enforcement showed up around 3 a.m, and when I explained everything to them, they became guarded, especially now that I said I feared the man was FBI, and may have had a weapon on the property that was not registered in the hotel database. Law enforcement said that they could take the family away as they were trespassing, but there was little that could be done. The parents told the officers that I had not talked to the parents, nor had the hotel spoken to them about anything. The entitled father and his friends started demanding information from the hotel about the clerks involved and all of my work information. I told them I was not allowed to legally give out any of my work information outside of the name of my work. It wasn't true, but the guy believed it and said he would contact my work and make sure my supervisors hear about me and how I was a creep. The rest of the night was uneventful, and the entitled family stayed in their rooms, but that was because they didn't want to leave, and the night auditor was a nice guy and didn't want to kick out the children at 4 a.m. with nowhere else to go. Since the kids of these entitled parents were connected to a sports group, and there were about 10 to 15 rooms all connected under the group, the hotel decided to charge each room with the destruction of property and attach the report from both hotel staff had written and myself to make sure it was known why each room was being charged over $500 in damages. One of the fun things about that night is that one of the sheriffs that showed up was a friend of mine from high school that I haven't seen in over 10 years. It was nice to catch up with him and see that he was doing good. So I'm really kind of curious if the entitled father was a agent for the FBI or an officer, because you can work for the FBI and CIA and not be an agent with law enforcement. You could be a custodian, or you can be part of admin, or you could be part of their tech team, but not have any jurisdiction whenever it comes to law. Either way, I kind of wish they would have found that out, because it's actually a felony to impersonate an officer and make claims like that. Leads to a lot of bad things when people impersonate that kind of role and they're not. As far as the children are concerned, I would not have cared if it's 4 o'clock in the morning. If they're old enough to mess around and break safety equipment, they're old enough to figure out that there's consequences to their actions. Because, I mean, let's say that there was a fire, later on that night or the next day, and the stuff wasn't able to be replaced or fixed in time. That could have been very dangerous and lethal to anyone else. But that's all I have for the rant on this story. Thank you guys for listening, and I hope to see you soon in the next one. Please like and subscribe. Until next time.